Welcome back to Sub-Zero Hero. So here's a little bit of news I forgot to mention during our last episode. During the off-season, none other than Premier Division Bournemouth came in and offered us a job interview. I turned it down, and Bournemouth supporters are probably mighty thankful that I did, given how poorly we have started this current season. But us moving to Bournemouth clearly wouldn't be the oddest managerial move in the current FM climate. Neil Lennon has just lost his job as manager of Juventus. How he ended up in Turin, I have absolutely no idea. But we need to concentrate on ourselves. As I hinted, we've not made a spectacular start to this league campaign. Today, we've come back for some cup action. We've got a very winnable tie today against a team from a lower division. If we were victorious, we'd progress into the quarter-finals of the Norwegian Cup. So here is that table then. By no means a disaster. We did say in the last episode that our season was pretty front-loaded with some tricky games, and so it has proven so far. We're in 10th place, 4 points away from potentially those European positions, but only 4 points ahead of those relegation playoff positions as well. We've won 3 games, drawn 4, lost 4 as well. I hate to use football manager bingo cliches, but we really have not got the points that we've deserved so far in this season. In our opening day episode, we drew the derby 1-1 with Tromsdalen, and given the match stats, we should probably have won that game. Well, after that, things did look like they were going incredibly well. We played Glimt in our next game. Now, we did go 2-0 down in this fixture, which was a little bit disappointing, but we came roaring back into life. Emper got us a goal just before half-time. And then in the second half, Håkon Skogdal took over, scoring exactly the kind of goals that we're looking for with our new 4-3-3 system. The front three playing each other in delicate interplay between the three of them, and us being pretty lethal in front of goal. After this game, I have to say I was pretty impressed with how our new formation was playing. Runnigan dropped back to be the Mazzala in this game. And not only did he set up Skogdal for his second goal, but Runnigan was also the architect of our fourth and Skogdal's hat-trick scoring third. And Runnigan was just like a quarterback back there, just crafting chances for the front three. And given what a good side Glimt are, I was pretty pleased with that. We then got an 11-0 win against a team who are in the same division as the team we're playing today in a later round of the Cup. So that was pleasing. And then we beat Kristiansund 4-1. Again, Skogdal and his other Skog friend, Skogvang Pedersen, getting 3 of the goals for us. And we really were playing some pretty breathtaking football. But then we hit the tougher games and the wheels did come off a little bit. We lost 3-2 to Molde, given the match stats. This result could have been a little bit worse, to be honest. And then we played Vålerenga, always a good side, Vålerenga. And, well, the match stats were reasonably even. We could have nicked a draw in this game. Alas, it was not to be. We then made further progress in the Cup before a 3-0 defeat to Rosenborg. Now, you can always pick up a defeat to Rosenborg in this game, as the match stats tell you. We weren't as bad as perhaps the scoreline might suggest, but it was yet another defeat, and, well, the morale had started to take a little bit of a battering. We progressed further in the Cup. We played a fellow Premier Division side in Odd, and we beat them 2-0, and we looked really good in this game, back to our best, although Hartvigsson needed a goal in extra time to make it really convincing before things have gone just a little bit patchy. We've only lost 1 game since then, the 3-1 defeat to Stabæk, but we've had 3 draws out of those 5 games as well. A 2-2 draw, a 1-1 draw. In our most recent game, we were a goal up against Start, and we only drew that game 1-1 as well. Skogvang Pedersen did get us another really nice goal in this game. I'm very happy with how the wide players have been performing as part of this 4-3-3. But our defence is still very porous. And it means that we need to score more than 1 goal per game, really, to have a chance of getting a win. Perhaps the best performance we've had out of the last few was in beating Brann, another good side in Norway, beating them 3-0, Runnigan getting a couple of the goals, Emper coming off the bench as well, because Runnigan picked up a knock, and we had a convincing win. So let's be an optimist. We'll say that in the last 6 games, we've only lost once. But you can also say, in the last 6 games, we've only won twice. It means that today, we've got a game against Rana FK, who are in the 3rd division. That's the 4th tier of Norwegian football. We will not get a better chance than this to qualify for a Norwegian Cup quarter-final, a round we've not been to since our very first season in Sub-Zero Hero. So in order to steady that ship a little bit, we have made some more tactical tweaks. We've still got the same formation, but we were looking very, very leaky in some of our games. I think I was misled a little bit by those early games against Kristiansund and Bodø Glimt, and I thought we could probably go a little bit more attacking than I think we actually can, given the defence that we have. So I've dropped the defensive line down a notch, and that certainly seems to have helped. I did that just before the Brann game where we won 3-0. I've also just eased off in some of the fullback positions rather than a fullback on attack. Grachev is now just playing as a wing-back. By the way, he's having a good season so far. You'll see in his 11 appearances, he's got 5 assists, a couple of those from corners, giving his corner-taking attribute of 8. That is a welcome return. But you'll also see that over at right-back, well, we really have been struggling to find someone that can play there and put up a decent score. Oscar Berg, not really sure. He's played 8 games so far and has averaged just over 6.5. He has a mediocre week in training, a little bit like this, and he'll back it up with a poor week, despite his personality, where his attributes will be on the wane once more. We've tried to give Ole Christian Jensen a couple of games back there at right back as well. He's not really cut out for it given his limitations going forward, but at least he wasn't getting an absolute hiding from the opposing winger, and he was able to actually close down and put a tackle in. For today's cup game, I'm going to experiment with something a little bit different. This is by far our best trainer, Christian Berntsen. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder, I guess. He could also play as a Mazzala. To be honest, he's quite decent in any of those midfield roles. But I've also noticed he really could make a decent right-back. I think he's our best midfielder, don't get me wrong. But I think we've got strength in central midfield. I think we've got other players that could play there. Certainly, I think Runnigan could drop into the midfield. And I think we've got options up front that could play as the false 9 rather than Runnigan. But at right back, well, I'm going to actually use the D word now and say things are getting desperate. We've got Grachev, who's looking like a great option over on the left. We've got nothing of any kind of consistency or quality on the right. So could Berntsen be an option for us? It would mean that we're taking him out of the midfield where he's naturally one of our best players. But I think physically he looks great for a fullback. He can cross a ball. His passing and technique and vision are pretty good. So he could get forward and be quite a creative outlet for us. But crucially, the marking is not a disaster. The tackling is certainly reasonable. The positioning is passable. And in terms of his work rate, anticipation, composure, he looks all right. We're going to give him a game there today and see whether he might be a bit of an option going forward for us, because I think if we could try and stiffen up this back line by having 2 good fullbacks, a decent centre-half, and then a youngster who's training well, is not growing and his jumping reach is not going up very much, but at least he is the quickest of our players back there, well, maybe we wouldn't have such a fragile defence. We've got a little injury problem for today's game. The 2 players who I think have been the best for us so far this season have been our brace of Skogs. Skog van Pedersen has got 5 goals in 9 starts from over on the left wing for us. He is really training incredibly well. Some of these mentals now are looking frighteningly good. His technique still needs a little bit of work, but he's getting there. And over on the right wing, unfortunately, his mate Skog 2 has picked up a little bit of a groin strain. He's been out for a month now. He's almost back to fitness, but we're not going to risk him in today's game. Fortunately, his attributes have not taken a little bit of a decline whilst he's been out injured, and the Skogs between the pair of them have been looking great. So here's what I'm thinking for today's game. We're going to try Berntsen out as a right back. That means Ronigan can come in and fill in the midfield, and Emper's going to come in as the false 9. If this looks like more of a long-term thing, I don't know. We might experiment with a different role for Hugo. Maybe a deep lying forward might be more suited to him. He's not a great dribbler. He's not a great passer. His teamwork is not superb. But let's not knock the boy. He's looked all right when he's come on and made rare appearances for us. And also in the central midfield, we're going to play Morten Sturvold, who came through in probably the worst youth intake we've had in years. He was the only shining light in it, and, well, what a shining light he's proving to be. He's training very, very well. I like some of his technicals for a midfielder. The first touch, the passing, the technique, and particularly the long shots are looking very, very nice. He's not scored a goal for us in the league so far, but he has scored in the cup. But also some of these mentals are looking promising. The teamwork's great, the off-the-ball movement, the vision, the work rate, the flair, the decisions. And some of these other attributes look like they could hit double figures. And physically, he's advancing as well. So we're going to give little Morten another game in the cup today. If we lose today's game, the press are going to have a field day. This really is a game that we've got to capitalise on. Because if we could get to the quarterfinals of the cup and get another reasonable draw, well, not only financially will it benefit us, but also it could give us the chance to potentially make a cup semi-final. And I honestly think winning the Norwegian Cup, if not our best chance of qualifying for Europe this season, might be our only chance. Okay, to top things off, we're the home team for today's game. Surely not even we can louse things up against a team 3 tiers lower than us, but, well, I wouldn't put it past these boys. They are young and they are woefully inconsistent. Let's see whether they can get the job done. The reason I'm so confident is that we played against a team from the same level as this earlier on in the competition, and we put 11 past them. I would take 4 today. That would be a solid performance, but we're getting all the way to the 15-minute mark, and we've not really had a chance yet. We're now into the highlights. An early goal would be nice for us just to settle the nerves. If we go 1-0 down in this game and have to chase it against a lower league team, well, that's going to be little bit nerve-wracking, I would say. However, they are the ones that have got the ball. We've headed it forward. Here's little Emperor. He's got a player outside of him if he can find him. He can't. He's had to go twice himself and has blasted it wide of the goal. Now Emperor's on the free kicks. He's blasted it into the wall. That player will have known that they got hit. He's had another effort and he's smashed Runigan in the face. And we've had 8 shots, but only 1 of them on target. But the highlights are at least coming thick and fast now. Schönerson has taken a tumble in the area. And it's normally going to be Emperor that's on the penalties for us. This could be the goal just after a quarter of the way through the game. That might just settle the nerves for us, but no. Emperor has just dollied one back to the keeper. Excellent start. We've gone it forward to old Skoggers. He's got to be quicker than his fullback as well. He's making hard work of beating him. He's got it in. Runigan's there. Sturvold's there. And it's another pass back to their keeper. And that is a disappointing first half. Forget the XG. Forget having 20 shots. A quarter of them have been on target. The teacups are about to fly. Might even be some changes before we see you for the second half. Okay, we are back underway. No changes of personnel, but against my better judgment, I've stepped the defensive line up a notch to see whether that might make us a little bit more offensive and a little bit more potent. Even a fourth tier team is capable of getting in behind our defence. So I am a little bit nervous. They've got to cross into the box. We've headed it clear. And can we finally get somebody on the ball that's going to show a little bit of quality? Runnigan's got it, but he gets tackled. And this is not their strongest performance, is it? Heron's got the ball now. Grachev. We're looking for somebody to take this game by the scruff and just help us to stamp our authority on it. But we're not there yet. Emper, he's passed another one back to their keeper. He's got a good match rating, but surely he should have taken at least one of the chances he's had by now. And we're not out of the highlights yet. Bratton's now got the ball. He's got Burnson, who's playing all right down there at right back. He's on a 6.8. There's Runnigan quarterbacking. That's what we wanted from him. Sjernesen gets the ball in, and Emper has missed another one. Despite his match rating, I think we're going to take Emper off in a moment, because he is the player that all the chances are falling to, and he's not looked likely so far. Grachev, though, well, he's got another assist. He's fired in the corner, and we've needed a scruffy set piece near post header from Bratton to get ourselves ahead. I reckon, we're going to make the change now. Emperor's got this corner, and then I think we're hooking him. He's headed it over the bar. Time for a change, I think. I've not been impressed by Hugo, despite the fact the match rating says he's playing quite well and having a good game. I'm going to look for another option. We'll see you back out there in a moment. Okay, brace yourselves. The man we've gone for, the man of the hour, is Jonas Hartvigsson. I think he's scored 2 goals in the last 8 years, but we've brought him on as a slightly more mobile and tricky false 9 rather than the brute force and physicality of Hugo Emper. Hartvigson's involved straight away, gives the ball away, God bless him. And we've gone long to Sjernesen, who's only 5'7", and given the ball away again. And we remain 1-0 up. Positives? Well, our opponents have yet to register an effort on goal, but we have been wasting chance after chance. The back four are playing fairly well, but ahead of them, we've not got too much going on. We're going for a corner again. Here's the youngster. Oh, he has let fly. We did mention that he's got fairly decent long shots. No, they were that good. That one's got to be over 30 yards out, I think. Grachev's corner is headed away. He's come from just the edge of the centre circle. I reckon that is 30 yards, and he has blitzed one into the goal, and now things are starting to look a little bit more comfortable. Schernesen's on the ball. We've thrown in another cross. Their keeper's got hold of one. We're on the hour mark. Okay, we've made a little alteration. Runnigan was playing okay, but looking a little bit tired. So we brought on another youngster, Fjellingsdal, who also came through in the last youth intake. 6'4" he is, although doesn't have too much by the way of technique about him. We've asked him to jump in there as a box-to-box midfielder. We've only got 5 minutes left, and we've got a highlight, but we're not on the ball. We need to try and win it back. And we need at least one more, I think, to say that this has been anything like a comfortable performance. At least we're not going too long. We've played fairly controlled football, I would say. Although against a team 3 divisions below us, I was hoping that we could have been a little bit more cutting. Hartvigson's in now. Schernesen's there. Here's the new boy, Fjellingsdal. Sjernesen has disappointed me a little bit. He's got one over now, though, and Skoggers is in from the opposite wing. And finally, we get that 3rd goal. That was a little bit better. Fjellingsdal releases Sjernesen. Finally, he puts in a decent ball. And little Scoggers, he's not the biggest still, I think he's only 5'10". Despite having 35 shots and an XG of over 3, and despite restricting the opposition to no efforts on goal and having 70% of the ball, well, it's not like we blew them away, is it? We've at least had good performances from the back four. Burnton's come in and played perfectly well over at right back. Some of our youngsters like Sturvold have also played well. Scoggers has got himself another goal. Let's keep morale up because it's taken a little bit of a battering recently. Let's tell them that they've done a little bit better than I think that they really have. Congratulate them on making it through to a cup quarter-final. So, things are getting a little bit better, I suppose. What's that now? That's just one defeat that we've had in. But in the last 5, 6, 7 games, we've only lost one of them. And we've got some, on the face of it, winnable games coming up. Stromsgodset, Lillestrøm, Haugesund, Odd, another derby game. We've already beaten Bodø/Glimt and Kristiansund once this season. Maybe we could do it again by the time we come back. You never know. We might have made our way into a cup semi-final and made some progress up the league. Well, you never know. We might have lost all of our games, be out of the cup and back in a relegation battle.